problem is, it's not just them it's causing harm to. This is something we all have to realize, that some of these things, these problems that we deal with in life, they just don't have an effect on us. They have an effect on other people. They have an effect on our family, our marriage, our children. It's hurting our relationships with other people and our relationship with God. And this is something that is very known to them. They know they need to change. There are people out there, they know I need to change this about my life. In fact, they have sought different things to change these situations. Some have gone to church. Some have sought other things, but unable to change. I remember that before I was saved, I battled these different kinds of addictions, different kinds of selfish habits and issues and situations in my life. And I wanted to change those things. I wanted them to be different. I wanted to be the husband and father that I needed to be to my wife and to my children as well. But I went to church and still these things would not change. These issues were still there. And so this is a problem that many people in this world struggle with. And I'm not talking about people out of the world, just people that are sin. This is true for people that are saved as well. As Christians, we struggle with change as well. In our scripture, it's talking about somebody who's a believer, the Apostle Paul. This is not before his salvation or before his salvation. This is after the conversion. Paul's explaining to the church in Rome, I'm struggling with something. There's a problem that I have. There's an area of my heart and my life that I don't need to change. But I cannot change that. If we're honest with ourselves, beloved, there is certain areas of our lives, there are things that we know that need to change in our life. Because how many of you know that change is not a one-time thing? People think that, hey, I came to church, I gave my life to Jesus, I don't drink no more, I don't smoke no more, I don't do this or that no more. But the reality is there are still things that affect us there. There are still things that are hurting us, that we struggle with change. There's attitudes, there's sin issues, there's heart issues. There are things that are inside of us that we know should not be there. And these things are not just hurting us, they're hurting other people. In fact, they're even hurting our salvation. So that brings us to the big question in life. What hinders people from changing? Because this is something that you see if you're saved over a period of time. People will come, they have all kinds of habits and issues. They come gloriously, get saved. God powerfully sets them free. They're a new person. But after time, that change stops. They have certain habits, they have certain issues, they have certain things in their life that are still there. And something happens where they're not changing no more. Sometimes they're not changing for the better, they're changing for the worse. And that is a question. What keeps people who come to church from changing, or Christians that want change? And that's what I want to look with you at secondly, at what hinders change. One of the main things that hinder people from changing is they don't want to do the things they have to do to change. Change requires action. Can you say amen? There are things that you have to do, some decisions that you have to make. Oftentimes, you and I think that, hey, you know what? This is what I thought. I'm not going to talk about you because I don't want you to get mad at me yet. I want you to pay attention for just another 10 minutes or so. But listen, what I thought is, you know what's going to fix my marriage when that I had the problems I had, all the issues I had, my drinking problem? I can just show up to church, right? I'm going to show up to church and everything's going to be fixed. I showed up to church, but I walked out and my wife still didn't like me. Nothing changed. I walked out of the church and I'm the same kind of person. So my point is this: coming to church ain't going to change you only.